No further ado, this is Erica Renee Walker. Go ahead.
Survivors and families. I'm very honored to be here. And I want to first start by thanking God for this opportunity to be in a room filled with you all. I also want to thank the Brain Injury Association of Missouri, Alyssa and Maureen. And I also would like to thank my family and friends for being here today to show me their support. It means a whole lot. When I was a little girl, I remember seeing my uncle put together puzzles. And these weren't just any type of puzzles, but these were puzzles that consisted of 1,500 plus pieces. And he would focus so intently on it, and I would just watch him put it together. And they would put together these beautiful pictures of like landscapes and all kinds of different things. And it really inspired me. And when I was in bed last Thursday morning, I had a revelation come to mind how brain injuries are similar to puzzles. Puzzles come in different shapes, sizes, and colors. We brain injury survivors come in different shapes, sizes, and colors. And it's what we do after our injuries that continues to form our puzzles to become beautiful pictures in the end. My presentation will show you not only what I like to refer to as my anniversary, but more so my life after my injury, how I've done so many different things and still have my journey going on. So on May 30th of the year 2008, I had my birthday party, my 21st birthday party. And I've had birthdays before, but I never had a party like this one. My thing was the day a star was born. And so I had a star-shaped cake. I had stars on, centerpiece of stars inside of my baby photos. I had a red carpet. I had like the stars plastered on the red carpet, like on the Hollywood Boulevard. And I had total photographers to take pictures of me, like the paparazzis when I come in, they just flashing lights or whatever. And I had my DJ play a song by Lupe Fiasco. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's called Superstar. And I also had a backdrop that you can see. It's at Erica's 21st birthday party, or 21st birthday rather. And my cousin Red and Gold. And I had a red dress custom made. And so it was a real big deal for me to have this party. I planned it a year in advance, so I had a lot of details in the store with this. And so on May 30th, the day of my birthday, I had flew my cousin in from Pennsylvania. And I picked up from the airport, and we did other errands and things like that. And so I had to get my hair done and, just girly up for my party. And so I also had to get a rental car and things like that. And so I got back to my apartment, probably me about maybe 5-ish. My party was really start from between 7 and 10 p.m. And so we were talking, got caught up, and then by the time I see at the time, it was about maybe 6:30-ish. And we got started scrubbing and ready. And I had a dress fitting prior to my party, but however, when I put my dress on, it didn't fit like it fitted when I got it tailored. So we were trying to get it together to fit to where it wouldn't be as revealing. So it took me about 15-20 minutes. And so late my own party, and people were calling my phone, texting my phone, and it was just a big mess. And so I said, okay, we just had to go. So we were driving, and then I remember it poured down raining like I've never seen rain like this before. I mean, it rains, but this particular day was so much rain, it was just crazy. And so we drove and got there, and I arrived, and the DJ got word that I was there, so they, of course, cued the song and played it. And I walked in, I did Mr. Work America wave, and waved to my friends and family that was there. And it was just such an amazing atmosphere. We had food and just had a good time, took pictures with everyone, and it was an overall good experience for me. And I just took a picture. I took with my cousins, my older cousins, and we're the 3 granddaughters of my grandmother, and it's my magazine cover picture. And that night was just a great night, and we went to the club afterwards. I was a clubber back then. I went to the club afterwards and just had a good time. And I think we went home to change clothes, and I don't know what I wore that night, but I know I changed clothes, and we got home that night maybe about 2 or 3 in the morning, give or take. And so that Saturday morning, we woke up, and I always did have a sleepover at my cousin's home that day. And I wanted my cousins to be there. I don't know what, I had plenty of friends, but I don't know why. I just want my cousins to be there, but needless to say, I just want my cousins to be there. And we got to my cousin's home approximately maybe a close to 8, I think. And so that night we just talked all night long and just played and just talked and watched movies, ate popcorn and just did what I wanted to do. And that Sunday morning, oh goodness, I woke up to an aroma of pancakes and eggs and potatoes, and I was making my hungry, but pancakes and eggs and sausage and biscuits and oh my goodness, a plethora of food. And afterwards we ate and we ate food and just lounged around, talked some more. And then I don't think we had to change of clothes, so I went to back to my apartment and I took my cousins to their home and to change clothes, things like that. And it was 5 of us, but I dropped my cousin off to her vehicle, and it was just 4 of us. And so we got to visit my auntie's home, and before we went to change clothes. And so once we got home and changed clothes, I picked my cousins back up, and I went to my grandmother's house. And that's one of the last house I went to before I went to the city. And so I remember going on the highway, and I got exit 247, which is the Grand exit. And I'm just driving down, not thinking anything of it, or just listening to radio music and things like that, and just having a good old time. We went out and down Grand Bridge, and it was so fun because I had to run a car, the Mustang, and it was a real popular car back then. And I went down Grand Bridge, and we finally stopped at the gas station. I don't know what the gas station's called. It's like across the street. There's 2 gas stations on Natural Bridge and Grand. And so it was very crowded. And I think I heard that night they had a peace march. And the city sometimes crowded only on Sundays, but it was really crowded that Sunday. So the gas station I pulled over to, it was like bumper to bumper traffic. So I didn't feel as comfortable being there. So I went across the street to the other gas station, and I parked over by the vacuum cleaners. And I was so thirsty. And anyone knows me back then, I hated being thirsty. I could not stand being thirsty. And so I went to the gas station, got a Hawaiian punch to drink. And I got my cousins whatever kind of snacks they wanted. And so we went outside and just talking, and I seen people I knew and just talking. And then somewhere, I don't really remember exactly, but somewhere or another, I remember my heart like beating so fast, really beating really fast. And I felt myself feeling scared, and I felt like I know what's going on. And so I think I blacked out. And so it's almost like if you blink your eyes, it goes dark, and that's how my mind went. It just went blank like that. And so I had got shot in my head, and so after that, I know I was rushed to the hospital. And along the way there, I flatlined a couple times. I had stroke, seizures. My brain had really swelled up really badly. So when upon arrival at the hospital, they had to have a bedside surgery. My nurse told me bedside surgery, and they had to drain my brain. We interviewed her approximately, I believe, last year sometime, and she asked her a couple questions, and she volunteered to be a part of my story. And so I have a video to show of my nurse, and before I explain it, so you can get an overall picture of how it was night for her and her perspective from that night, and how it looked to her, of the severity of it.
Down to get report from the nurse about who my patients were and what was going on with them. I just remember having this horrible story, heartbreaking story. She's giving me a report, and I'm like, wow, and what happened, and how old is she, and this and that, and it was heartbreaking. And I remember as I was giving a report, I would kind of like peek over into the room like, wow, this baby, not that most people you see in the unit that I was working in, which was a neurosurgery unit, a lot of people were older, who may have suffered strokes, who had lived a much more longer life than this patient. So it was extremely sad because she was just a baby, and to me anyhow. And so I got this terrible, terrible report. And then, visiting hours started, and the first day, her father and her mom came in, and, I was just really trying to feel them out because, I'm thinking, this ain't good, but I just want to be like the the most caring person I can be in this situation. It's hard for them because I'm thinking, you know, I kind of seen how these things go. I've been in this unit a long time. This don't end well. So they came in and they were devastated, but at the same time they had like a insane amount of hope, if you know what I mean. That it was like, but do you know what just happened? You have to understand, Erica had a significant amount of swelling on her brain. So much so that her eyeballs came out. Her eyelids could not close. Her brain was swelling any which way it could. Okay? And so what we did was what we call a ventriculostomy. We did this little small surgery at the bedside where the neurologist come in, he shaved her head, and he put a little drain in to release some of the cerebrospinal fluid that our body makes in an attempt to decrease the swelling that's happening inside the cranium, which is a vault. So it's like swelling against something, and it didn't have anywhere to swell to. So we tried to release some of the swelling, but you know, she had what we call decorticate posturing, and decorticate posturing is an indicative of terrible, terrible brain damage. So the way she was posturing her arms and legs also looked as if things were dire. We see this type of posturing when things are progressing toward a mortal-like state. It was looked at as if she's never gonna be, you know, cognizant again. So there was not a lot of hope just in the way she presented and from what her CT scan showed from the trajectory of the bullet. It didn't seem, she was on a ventilator. She wasn't using any kind of respiratory effort of her own. Everything was being done for her artificially. She worked so hard in therapy, so hard. You know, Erica is a success, period. At this juncture right now, total success. From where I stood from day one, total success. Don't ever give up on anything. Erica is here to remind you that you do not ever give up. I don't care what it looks like.
So that's it for the video, but she explained this radio was very dire, she said. So to piggyback on what she stated, I was put in a medically induced coma to have my brain relax as well, and my brain pressure got to 57. If it would have got to 60, I would have pronounced brain dead. And so my pastor and first lady came to the hospital and they prayed for me. My pastor told me, and this encouraged me so much, and he told me that, you know, that I'm a career process, but I will not die. And so hearing that and to, you know, try to message back to my parents, kind of like, okay, I see this, but at the same time, I don't know it's going to kind of wait for a little bit. But he stayed in faith and believed that I'll pull through, and my family got on board and, you know, agreed with it as well. And again, it was still up and down, back and forth, up and down. Like my levels go so high, then they go so low, and it just was up and down. And I'd say night sometimes, and it was really bad. And so my staff was touch and go for a long time, but God, he saw differently. He saw it otherwise to keep me here a little longer. And so the doctors went to pull the plug. They talked to my family and said, you know, if she does live, she's going to be a vegetable in so many words. And so there was no hope basically for me. There was no hope at all. And so I was then transferred to Kendra Hospital for extended care. And while at Kendra, I was there maybe a week and a half or so. And while there, an infection was found in my head, and I was having trouble breathing as well. And I had to be transferred back to school hospital to have a second surgery. And the first surgery, I was showing little to barely any brain activity. And so when I had a second surgery, I started showing more signs of coming back around and more signs of living and things like that. So also, my family could tell that I was, you know, a little bit more aware of what's going on, because I would see people and I would, like, I guess, cry and stuff. And I also show me pictures, things like that. And I had a tendency to roll my eyes, like right in myself, I roll my eyes, and I don't know why, but I said I'm a personality, so I roll my eyes with people, but in order for my to communicate with me, they had to come with a system, a blinking system. I believe one time was no, and twice was yes, I think. And so they asked me, are you in pain? Are you this? Are you that? And I'll blink, and it's funny because one time I was in so much pain, and they didn't know what was going on. And my cousin, she was just guessing, and what's today's date? And she had figured out that I'm a girl, so I had a monthly cycle. It didn't stop because I got hurt. It still came around. And so this day I was in pain, and I was just like, thank you, like, oh my goodness, you figured it out. So it was just a lot. My family had to make a system and to communicate. It was just, you go through so many different things, and there was an incident to where I hated the sound of the trach in my throat. It made this little bubbling noise that I cannot stand. I really hated it. And so I would like tugging my throat to get that noise to stop, but it would not stop. So I was later just like, oh my goodness, like attitude. I just roll my eyes and just like forget it. But then I was also on so many medication that sometimes I wake up and be in and out. And it was a really tough process. And once I got to St. Mary's Hospital, I called it my turnaround hospital because a lot of things turned around for me. I couldn't talk for approximately 4 months. I had a trach in my throat. I had a feeding tube. And I really did not like getting therapy. My legs had never stretched in like months at this time. So from not being stretched out to being stretched out is really, really difficult. So I would cry, and I figured out to take medicine before therapy, and it helped. But my therapist had a hard time with me initially. I mean, everybody had a hard time with me initially because it just was, I didn't know what happened to me. And so the day I found out what happened to me, my cousin visited me,